Walters is the place to be this time of year, across the street from Nationals Park and near Audi Field. Open daily from 11 a.m. until 2 a.m., and on the weekends, closing time is at 3 a.m.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Save $100 on the Craftsman V20 6-Tool Power Tool Combo Kit, now at $199. No matter what the project is, Craftsman's high-quality, high-performance products empower you to build on. Stop by your nearest Lowe's store and check out the full line of Craftsman tools today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Next pitch. Swing a long drive, left center field. Racing back Thomas to the track at the wall, and it's gone. Opposite field home run for James Wood. 2 rows into the seats to the right of the 374 mark in left center. Makes it 4-3 Arizona. Wood home run number 16. Low at second, Garcia at first. 3-1 pitch. Swing a high drive, deep right center field. Look out in the swimming pool. Way back it goes, and it clears the swimming pool. Up onto the concourse. Josh Bell put that one into orbit. And the Nationals lead it 6-4. He's homered 3 straight games. That's number 9 on the season for Bell. That almost scraped the roof here at Chase Field. First pitch to Lowe. Swinging a broken back ground ball, base hit through the hole into right field. Scoring is Tana. Abrams coming home. The throw to third is cut off, and Wood's going to be tagged out, but Abrams does score. So 2 runs cross on the broken bat single to right for Lowe. The Nationals lead 8-6.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who was at Chase Field in Phoenix. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. The Nationals, since their 7-game losing streak, are 10-4, and now are just 3 games below 500. Late night on Friday night, a 9-7 win at the Arizona Diamondbacks in Game 1 of a 3-game series. The Nats in MLB's 2025 regular season now 27-30, including 3-1 on this ongoing 6-game trip out west. Good things are happening for the Nats, so please consider subscribing to the Nats Chat podcast. If you're not already doing that, subscribing to the podcast costs nothing. Make sure that you never miss an episode and helps us out a lot. And if you're already subscribing, we say thank you. You can hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the program natschatpodcast@gmail.com. And we have a website you can check out, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can purchase a Nats Chat podcast t-shirt. The Nats now have a 3-game winning streak during which they have scored exactly 9 runs in each game. DH Josh Bell has homered in each game. Left fielder James Wood now has homered in 3 of the team's last 4 games. The starting pitcher Jake Irvin did have a rough outing on Friday night, but Mark, the offense is having a really nice road trip since game 1 of the trip. There was that 9-1 loss at Seattle this past Tuesday night. Since then, the offense has been outstanding.
Here's the stat. It's the first time, Al, since August of 2019 that the Nationals have scored at least 9 runs in 3 straight games. Now, you know what happened in 2019 and who was in that lineup. And so it has taken quite a while. And the names in this lineup are completely different from the names in that lineup. But it is finally starting to come together. And maybe in an unexpected way, unexpected places. In Seattle, you don't really count on that there. Arizona, you know, it's a good hitter's park, but this is a good team that they're facing. It's been pretty remarkable to see them flip this switch the way they had. And I think the key is we know that the guys at the top of the lineup have been hitting. It's the second half of the lineup that's delivering from the now. And the biggest names doing it are Josh Bell and Robert Hassell III.
It's been awesome to see what they have been doing. You know, you never know what is going to happen when a team from the East goes out west. I remember when I was a kid, pre-internet, my dad used to tell me when your team goes out west, it's like they disappear, right? Because those were the days where you didn't have the internet, and we would get the Washington Post, but it was the early edition, and so you wouldn't see the score, you wouldn't see the box score, and so you're never quite certain what's going to go down when your team from the East goes out west. But so far, this has been a really good run for the Nats here in terms of the 3-game series at Seattle and now this first game at Arizona. And by the way, I mentioned the Nats Chat podcast t-shirts that people can buy. You encountered multiple Nats Chat podcast fans at Chase Field on Friday night.
Yes, I did. As I was down on the field getting ready for my pregame segment on Masson, I got a shout from the front row and a fan showing off his T-shirt. This was Mark Masters, who lives out here. He's tweeted us a lot. He's written to us, a big fan of the show. He's lived out here for a few years now, and he said that we help him get through it all, feel connected to the team. And then as I'm talking to him, up steps another guy, Larry Cohen, who we've met before and we've heard from before. He and his wife are on vacation. They, are from Washington, D.C. They've been trying over the years to see the Nats in every single road city. This was their first time coming here to see them play in Phoenix. And so we got a photo with both of them with me. Very cool to see. As you know, we're very well represented all over the major leagues, and it's very cool anytime we see it, especially cool when you see two at the same time, especially this far from home.
Outstanding. Great stuff. Appreciate the support very much. And we appreciate what the Nats are doing here offensively. So the Nats in this 9-7 win at the Diamondbacks on Friday night, 9 runs, 11 hits, 6 walks, 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position. The 11 hits, 2 home runs, a triple, a double, and 7 singles. And I know we just talked about Josh Bell and Robert Hassell III, but I got to start with James Wood. He is having some run here out west. He has been supremely impactful in all 4 games so far. Wood on Friday night as the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, 1 for 4 with a solo homer and a walk. He had a Nats 4-run third, had a leadoff opposite field home run to left center to cut the Nats deficit to 4-3. James Wood now has homered in 3 of the last 4 games. I don't know to what extent the Nationals fan base in D.C. is able to stay up and watch these games. But, man, Wood is taking an already great season and is making it even better. He is enhancing it with what he is doing so far in this 6-game trip out west.
It's must-see TV when he steps to the plate. I mean, that's really what it has become, because you know that all it takes is one swing from him to hit the ball extremely hard and very frequently hit it over the fence. And as was the case again in this one, to hit it to the opposite field. He's still driving the ball to left field, left center field, like hardly anybody outside of Juan Soto can do. And it's such a pleasure to watch. And it's so fun to see the rest of the baseball world begin to pick up on this. If you haven't heard about James Wood at this point, I don't know what to tell you. He is a superstar, and he is putting on really one of the great hitting runs, power runs that we've ever seen around here. I remember a couple of months of Bryce Harper when he was, insane, and the MVP year of 2015 he did. Ryan Zimmerman would have a few months over the course of his career where it looked like he just could be not be stopped in any way. We know Juan Soto was consistent day in and day out. What James Wood has done this month, it'll be interesting. We got 1 day left, and we'll see when it's all said and done what the final tallies are. He's got to be under consideration for National League Player of the Month, although I think a certain guy named Ohtani in LA may have something to say about that.
Wood has been so good, and the stats, you look at him and you can really have fun with what he's doing. The James Wood slash line now for this regular season, batting average 287, on base percentage 385. The slugging percentage is at 579. He is teasing with slugging 600. Slugging 500 is really good. That this guy is flirting with slugging 600 is just outstanding. So cannot say enough good things about James Wood. But as mentioned, Josh Bell is officially hot. He is the Nats starting DH and number 5 batter, went 2 for 4 with a 3-run homer, a single, and a walk. Bell in that Nats 4-run third, a 3-run homer on a bomb to right center for a 6-4 Nats lead. The homer going a projected 430 feet per Statcast. Mark Bell homering for a 3rd consecutive game. Man, the Nats so far on this trip have hit some monster home runs, and Bell right now looks like a totally different batter. You on the last installment of the podcast outlined some behind-the-scenes stuff with Bell, and he just looks like a different player. Confident, and he is smashing baseballs right now.
You said it, confident. He is feeling different at the plate, and he's going up there believing that he's going to make really loud contact in a way that he hasn't done, up until this last week here of the season. And, we went over all the swing changes and what's potentially leading to this, but there is a mental aspect to it too. It's about the confidence. Once you start going in the right direction, as he said, it feels like the game slows down on you, and he just feels good that when he gets a pitch somewhere in the zone that he can do something with, he is not missing it. And my God, this one, between the roof overhead and just the echo that creates, This was like a rocket going off when he hit that ball. And then as you're watching the trajectory, the only question is it going to land in the pool or is it going to clear the pool? And boy, did it clear the pool. It went on to the concourse above the pool in right center field, 430 feet. That was very, very impressive.
How about this with Josh Bell? So Bell for this regular season has 11 extra base hits. That's it. But 9 of them are home runs. I mean, that's crazy when you think about that. His home run total is actually pretty good. He's on track to have a decent season in terms of hitting homers. He just has not done like anything else. He has 1 double, and he also has a triple. But man, that is something. 9 of his mere 11 extra base hits are home runs.
And, he did come into the season saying that was the goal, hit more homers as opposed to anything else. It's not quite been the path to get there that he would have thought. But yeah, he's well over a 20 homer pace at this point. I mean, here's what else he's done. Just in the last 3 days, he has raised his OPS from 544 to 638. That's almost 100 points in 3 days. And, we're not in the first week or two of the season here. We're 2 months in. That is not easy to do. It shows you how low he was, but also shows you how much he is killing it here these last 3 days.
Speaking of Lowe, Nathaniel Lowe, he had a good game on Friday night. He is an starting first baseman and number 3 batter. Went 2 for 3 with a 2-run single, another single, and 2 walks. Good to see him doing better lately off him having been struggling. Robert Hassell III, he is the starting center fielder and number 6 batter. Went 2 for 5 with a 2-run single and an RBI single. And he had an outfield assist. Hassell and a Nats 2-run first, a 2-out, bases loaded, full count 2-run single into center field for a 2-0 Nats lead to conclude a 10-pitch plate appearance. Then Hassell in the Diamondbacks 2-run third had an outfield assist. He threw out Eugenio Suarez at home on a 1-out first pitch opposite field RBI single by Lourdes Gurriel Jr. to right center field. And then Hassell in a Nats 1-run seventh had a 1-out RBI single into right field for a 9-6 Nats lead. Robert Hassell III getting the job done both offensively and defensively in this game.
His 2-run single in the first inning was a beautiful at-bat. He's got bases loaded, 2 outs, facing Merrill Kelly, a very established, good quality, big league starting pitcher. And he worked it for 10 pitches, fouled off 4 straight, and finally on the 10th pitch gets the one that he wants. And as he really explained to us in impressive detail, it was the first pitch of the at-bat that was a 2-seamer that kind of went towards his front hip and then came back over the plate, and he got it for the strike. And by the time he got to pitch 10, Hassell knew he's thrown me everything he's got. He's going to come back to that pitch again. He got it, and he drove it right back up the middle. That is such a great advanced approach, an impressive approach from a rookie who's been in the big leagues for, a week at this point. And I also want to mention here that Hassell went out of his way to compliment Darnell Coles and Chris Johnson, the hitting coach and the assistant hitting coach, for the pregame scouting reports that they give everybody on the opposing pitchers. He said, he's in the big leagues now, so you start to get a lot more information than you've gotten when you're in the minor leagues. And he said that Coles and Johnson have been nails on every single starting pitcher they've faced since Hassell has come up here, and saying they know exactly what to expect. And the pitchers are giving them what they think they should be in particular moments, in particular counts and all that. And, while they may not deliver every single night as hitters against that, he feels like he is supremely prepared. That was an impressive thing to hear from him. And, we always talk about hitting coaches, pitching coaches, what kind of difference are they making? To me, it was really interesting that you had unsolicited from Robert Hassell praise for the Nationals hitting coaches.
It's good to hear that. I mean, it's frustrating sometimes talking about these coaches because there's just a lot we don't know. And so you're sort of forced to go off things that you think could be true, but you're not certain are true. And so when you get bits and pieces like that, you can sort of put together a puzzle of what's going on here. So nice to hear that. Man, the Nats have been tremendous here. 27 runs over these 3 games here in terms of this 3-game winning streak, 9 runs in each game. We have not seen many sustained runs of great offensive success for the Nats in recent years. 3 games is not a sustained run, but it's quite the outburst. This has been something. And, 2 of the games happening at a good team in Seattle. Now you get off to a really good start here in this series at Arizona. Diamondbacks are not a great team. They're not a terrible team, though, either. This offense has come alive in a great way. Now, we know how this offense is. I mean, it could be that the next game the team scores 2 runs, right? But we are seeing a much better overall offensive output here from this team this season. And that's now tied with Atlanta for 15th in the majors leaders in team OPS at 707. So the overall offensive picture is better than people may recognize here. It's frustrating, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this offense, but it is more than capable of performing at a high level, and that's where this offense has been over these last 3 games.
Well, here's a remarkable stat that I never would have realized until it was pointed out to us by one of our listeners. The Washington Nationals and the New York Mets have played the same number of games, 57. Would you believe it if I told you the Nationals have scored more runs than the Mets? 253 to 247. The Nationals are 11th in the majors in runs scored, more than a third of the way into the season. That is a remarkable development for this team and this lineup, especially because on certain nights it does feel like they can't do anything, but they are doing it more than they have in the past. And when they do hit, they hit a lot. We've seen it now 3 straight nights. I think the depth of the lineup makes a big difference when you can get that from the bottom half of the lineup. A long way to go, of course, but I think you are finally starting to see the potential of this group as a whole starting to, realize what they can be. Maybe not every single night, but there's always been that potential there for this to be a much more potent lineup than I think we often give them credit for.
Hey, are you a law firm partner or associate looking to transition to a new firm because of compensation, or your firm recently committed to $100 million in pro bono work that you disagree with?
Or maybe your firm is using April Josh Bell, but the other firms are using May Josh Bell.
If this sounds like you should explore the lateral market and give Mason Kalfas a call. Mason is the top legal recruiter in the Washington, D.C. area. He has been a Nats Chat podcast advertiser since the beginning of our show. Mason will work with you to create a marketing and business plan to pitch to new firms and dramatically increase your compensation and or day-to-day happiness in your new job. Mason has placed partners and associates in just about every large law firm in D.C. and New York, and he can provide plenty of testimonials from candidates he has placed on the outstanding service that they received. You need a strong advocate in your corner to find the best law firm out there for your future career. Call Mason Kalfas today, 202-486-3535.
Life as a small business owner, everything is your problem, and there aren't enough hours in the day. That's where LinkedIn Jobs, and by proxy Nats Chat, are here to help. For those crucial hires that you absolutely can't whiff on, turn to LinkedIn Jobs. Simply post your job, and LinkedIn will take it from there, making sure it gets in front of the properly qualified candidates who are searching themselves. Find out why more than 2.5 million small business owners have turned to LinkedIn Jobs to grow their staff. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's linkedin.com/natschat to post your jobs for free. linkedin.com/NATSCHAT. Terms and conditions apply.
1-2. Swing a fly ball lifted deep right field. Way back goes Daylen Lile to the warning track. At the wall, he leaps, and he makes the catch. A spectacular catch by Daylen Lile. With his glove at the top of the fence, he robs Moreno to keep the game tied. Jake Irvin signals touchdown. He needed a big play, and he got one from Daylen Lile.
We have talked a decent amount about the Nationals defense lately, and, a standout play or two doesn't necessarily mean that the defense is fixed or even that the defense had a particularly good game. But I did want to highlight some impressive defensive moments for the Nats in this win at the Diamondbacks late night on Friday night. So I mentioned the Robert Hassell III outfield assist in the Diamondbacks 2-run third. We also had a really impressive catch by Daylen Lile in this game. So Lile, as the Nats starting right fielder and number 9 batter, went 0 for 4 and committed a fielding error, but he also made a really nice defensive play, and that play came in that Diamondbacks 2-run third. A leaping catch at the wall for a deep flyout by Gabriel Moreno with a runner on second and 2 outs to preserve a 6-all tie. Really impressive catch by Lyle. And Luis Garcia Jr., he pulled off quite the double play in this game. So Brad Lord tossed 2 scoreless innings with 3 swinging strikeouts. He tossed a scoreless bottom of the 7th despite issuing a leadoff walk and giving up a 1-out single. But Garcia pulled off a 4-3 double play on which he tagged the runner and then threw across the body for the out at first base. So some good defensive moments for the Nats in this win.
Lord delivers. Swinging a soft line drive on one hop, fielded by Garcia. He has Naylor out of the baseline, throws to first, double play.
On that Garcia play, I don't know about you watching it at home. Me watching it in person, I had that moment of like, what are you doing? Just toss it to C.J. Abrams and let him do this the conventional way. And then he pulled it off, the more complicated 4-3 double play. But it was an impressive job by him to make that happen because that was not easy at all. The Hassell throw to the plate was perfect. And the Lile catch, I'll tell you what stood out to me about that is a lot of times you see a guy rob a home run or an extra base hit, and they are jumping towards the wall and up. It's like a last-ditch effort to do that. What he did so well is he got himself all the way back to the wall, positioned himself to then jump up and make the catch. He had a great read on the ball from the bat, went to the spot where he knew it was going to land or come close to landing, and then put himself in such a great position to make that play. He wasn't off balance. He wasn't trying to do that on the run. He got there first and then made the jump. And that, to me, made that a spectacular play, even more than maybe the conventional ones that might look more impressive. The fact that he was already there, to me, said a lot about his natural ability, but also his baseball instincts to read a ball off the bat like that.
Could you tell, was that a home run robbery? It was difficult to tell. It certainly was an extra base hit robbery. Do we call that a home run robbery?
I feel like this happens all the time. It's right on the border of it. Like, it just depends. Is the ball going to hit off the side top of the wall and come back in, or right off the top and bounce over? It was that close to me. The replays, it kind of showed it could go either way, but a big leap from a guy who's not that tall, by the way. He's not James Wood out there in left field. He's kind of a short guy, short stature for an outfielder. He's got great athletic ability, though.
It is so interesting with what's going on with Hassell and Lile. The Nats, of course, have two outfielders in Dylan Cruz and Jacob Young on the 10-day injured list. Alex Call is kind of getting buried right now. He's not playing much with Hassell and Lile getting all this playing time. And, of course, James Wood doing what he's doing. And, look, Lyle's got to get going offensively. I think we understand that. But Hassell is getting going offensively, and we're seeing some good stuff from these guys defensively. I mentioned Brad Lord, what he did from a relief pitcher perspective in this 9-7 win at the Diamondbacks on Friday night. So Lord overall was good. Andrew Chafin was good. He tossed a scoreless bottom of the sixth with 2 strikeouts despite giving up a 1-out double. Kyle Finnegan in the bottom of the ninth did allow a run, but he got the save, issued a leadoff hit by pitch of Corbin Carroll. Even Finnegan is not immune to the hit by pitch epidemic for Nats relievers this season. Carroll stole second base, advanced to third base on a ground out, and then scored on another ground out.
Let me just say one thing about that hit by pitch from Finnegan. I'm not convinced he actually hit him. And to me, and I think this is exactly what happened, Lance Barksdale, the home plate umpire, he signaled foul ball at first. He did not signal hit by pitch. And Corbin Carroll just kind of reacted like he thought it hit him. He's taking off his gear, starting to go down there. I think he talked his way into it. And the umpires huddle up. They decide to review it. But because Barksdale claims that they had already called it a hit by pitch in real time, the onus was now on the replay to show that it didn't. And it was, of course, inconclusive because it's right at that point where it's like off the knob of the bat and the pinky finger is hanging over it. And so they, of course, to no surprise, say, well, the call stands because they couldn't tell anything, which means they have to revert back to what they initially called. I don't think they ever did call that he was hit by a pitch. I think Corbin Carroll talked his way into that one.
Well, let's be honest. If any team in MLB deserves zero benefit of the doubt when it comes to issuing hit by pitches this season, it is the Washington Nationals. I mean, with the abundance of hit by pitches that this team has issued, I don't blame anyone for just assuming that the hit by pitch actually happened with what has happened, especially with the Nats bullpen this season, with all of the hit by pitches, especially leadoff hit by pitches. Like, it's just crazy how much we've seen that so far this year. So the bullpen overall did a good job in this game. But there also was what happened with the Nats starting pitcher in this game, Jake Irvin. This is becoming a peculiar season for Jake Irvin. So he was not good in this game. 6 runs in 5 innings. He gave up 10 hits, which were 3 doubles and 7 singles. He issued a walk, and he recorded no strikeouts. He was back to really struggling when it came to generating strikeouts, although he did throw a lot of strikes. 93 pitches, 61 strikes, 32 balls. Irvin overall has been good. I don't want to make it sound like he's having a bad season. He isn't. But this up and down nature with the strikeouts has really been bizarre.
This game was the weirdest of them all. He wound up with only 3 swings and misses over his 5 innings. The Diamondbacks swung 43 times against him and only missed 3 times. That is bizarre. I don't know how to explain it. Jake, I don't think really had a great explanation for it either. Yes, it's a good lineup that they have, and they're good at putting the bat on the ball. And maybe his stuff just wasn't playing the way that he normally would like to. This is the first time he's pitched here. So maybe in the dry air, he's not getting the kind of movement or grip on the ball that he would normally. But it almost made me wonder if, did the Diamondbacks see something? Did they know something? Did they just have a good idea of what was coming? Because they weren't fooled by anything in this game. Now, to his credit, he gutted out 5 innings throwing 93 pitches. And yeah, he gave up the 6 runs. But he actually got the win in this game because they took the lead right after he departed. It was 6-6 when he left. They then took the lead, and he took at least a little bit of satisfaction in all of that. But I think deep down, he was kind of mystified at what happened in this game, especially on the heels of such a great start against the Giants, where he goes 8 and is super efficient, and he's getting strikeouts and almost could have gone the distance. To have it go such a different way the next time out, I think he was kind of baffled by that one.
It is another installment of a national starting pitcher getting off to a bad start, but still consuming some innings. We've seen that a good bit this season. 4-run bottom of the first for the Diamondbacks in this game, 2-run bottom of the third, and Irvin still ends up eating 5 innings. That's now at 309 innings consumed by starting pitchers this season. That's 11th in the majors in terms of most innings from starting pitchers. So the starters continue to do a good job of, at the very least, eating up innings. And really, save for one guy, Trevor Williams, the starting pitching has been good. I think it's been an underrated positive for this team so far this season. When you think about not just Mackenzie Gore, but Jake Irvin, Mitchell Parker lately not good, but he got off to the great start. Michael Soroka, we've seen some good things. The starting pitching gives the team a chance, and even if the pitching isn't particularly good in a game, the starting pitching at least is giving this team innings. It's been a consistent theme really throughout this season.
Yeah, they give them a chance. I think that's the key. There's not those early blow-ups and you see a guy coming out super early. It's allowing Davey really to manage his bullpen in a way that he doesn't need long relievers, or at least to have to cover things like 5, 6, 7 innings on a given night. They have not found themselves in that position. And even on a night, in this case, where the bullpen was not at full strength. I mean, you mentioned Brad Lord going the 7th and the 8th. That's the first time we've seen him in a high leverage spot for 1 inning, let alone for 2. I think that Jorge Lopez and Cole Henry in particular were unavailable. And I think Jose Ferrer was only available for a couple of batters if they needed it. He did warm up at one point, but I don't think he was going to give them a full inning. So they had to ask for more out of Lord to bridge that gap and get the ball to Kyle Finnegan in the 9th. And we've mentioned this before, but very quietly, this bullpen has completely stabilized itself. 39 games in, they've got a 7.29 ERA. In 18 games since then, it's 3.32. Dominant? No, but effective? Yes, and consistently effective. That's what they've actually been now for a good 3 weeks.
It's been much better, and as we've said, you don't need this to be a lights-out bullpen. You just can't be as horrible as the bullpen was, and the bullpen has not been horrible lately. It's been a lot better than horrible, actually. But if it can just be decent, and the starting pitching can continue to do what it is doing, and this offense can be what it has been, this team can do well. I mean, 3 games under 500 now. The Nats have a chance here by the end of next week, if not sooner, to be at 500, maybe even above 500. There's been such an elusive thing for this team throughout this rebuild, getting to 500, to say nothing of being above 500, but the Nats are getting close.
Well, speaking of above 500, and I'm glad you set me up so perfectly for this, they've got 1 game to go on Saturday to complete the month of May. No matter if they win or lose, the Nationals have already now clinched a winning month of May. They're 14-12 right now with this win. Since the rebuild began in July of 2021, they've had only 1 other winning month. August of 2023, they went 17-11. That was a nice stretch that they went on there. Otherwise, not a single winning month. They just did it for the month of May. You want signs of progress? There you go. And the schedule has not been kind to them in this month. They've faced some pretty tough teams, and they're going to come out of it with a winning record.
By the way, this is completely random. But with the last game, you just brought up Jorge Lopez, who made me think of this. We talked about his emotions getting to him. Do you know that game was on the 1-year anniversary of him throwing the glove into the stands? That happened 1 year to the day. So maybe there's something about the date of May 29th to where emotions get the best of Jorge Lopez. But I realized that after we taped the last installment of the podcast, emotions getting the better of him in Game 3 at Seattle, May 29th, 2025. May 29th, 2024 was when he threw his glove into the stands following an ejection while pitching for the Mets, and the Mets ended up designating him for assignment. How about that?
I had no idea. Maybe the location of the stars in the zodiac just line up on May 29th, and it brings out the worst in Jorge Lopez, or it's a full moon and the werewolf comes out. I don't know. That is fascinating. I hadn't heard anybody else bring that one up. Good on you, Al, for figuring that one out. And I guess wherever Jorge Lopez pitches next year, keep him out on May 29th. Don't let him pitch that game, no matter the situation.
Well, Game 2 for the Nats at the Diamondbacks, late night, Saturday night at 10:10, concluding a run of 5 consecutive late-night games for the Nats. You, as a Nats fan, staying up late to watch these games, if in fact you're doing that, deserve a medal for what's happening here with this run of late-night games. Michael Soroka will be the Nats starting pitcher, and if the Nats can get the win in that game, you're looking at clinching a winning road trip out west. That would be lovely.
Against good quality opponents, as you said, they've risen to the competition. I feel like they play better against the better teams that they face. And that's something to be said for that now. They can just, when they get a chance to face some of these so-called bottom feeders, again, of which maybe they're not one after all, maybe they can feast on that and actually gain some headway here and get over that 500 hump that we've been talking about for so long.
Yeah, Ken Rosenthal, the Nats are doing pretty well right now, 10-4 over the last 14 games. Put that in your next column. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the program natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
The pitch. Swinging a drive deep to left field. Back goes Rodriguez. It's over his head out near the fence, and that's out of here. It's another homer for Chaparro. This time a liner that got into the visitors' bullpen. He's homered twice and 3 times up, 4 batted in, and a 7-3 Red Wings lead.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.